On my first playthrough, I used the jellyfish to distract enemies and occasionally poison them, and that was about it. That means there's 63 other spirits I haven't tried yet, so let's summon some ghost friends and see how many bosses we can beat before we can't anymore. The challenge is, only the Spirit Ash can deal damage for me. I can't make any attacks myself, and just to spice things up, we're starting with all Spirit Ashes fully upgraded and randomly spinning a wheel to see which one we get for each boss. It's only recently that I learnt Latenna the Albinuric has a really surprising hidden interaction. She's normally completely immobile, but when she gets near an enemy direwolf, she can suddenly mount it and cast the new freezing mist attack. It's such a niche thing. I mean, how cool is that? It just makes me wonder how many more secrets are these spirits hiding. If you too are a friend to Spirit Ashes, then you need to check out the new Ashes design on the Orochi website. Not only have they sponsored this video, but they've actually collaborated on a brand new design with me, inspired by the Elden Ring Spirit Ashes. We have 6 ghostly characters centered on the back, with a summoning bell on the front. It looks so clean considering the amount of characters. It's almost minimalistic in a way. I love how it turned out. Orochi is a streetwear clothing brand that blends Eastern designs with gaming, and there's loads of amazing artwork based on some of the FromSoft games, from Dark Souls to Elden Ring. They have an original collection with Eastern dragons and tigers, even fish. I've been wearing their clothing for a while now. The designs are always lovely, the quality's good, and they hold up really well. Make sure to follow them on Instagram, where they announce their new collections, giveaways and promotions, and they might even have one going on for Black Friday weekend right now. Links are in the description, take a look if you're interested. So there's technically the first boss I want to try. All that remains is to figure out which Spirit Ash we're using. So I have all of these Spirit Ashes represented here. There's 64 of them, and this is a random number generator. 32! Okay, so what Spirit Ash is number 32 in my inventory? Crystalline Ashes. Blows from blunt weapons can shatter it easily. Oh dear, I think the shield attack from this boss is going to be an issue then. So here goes nothing. Release the Crystalline. It's such a serious face. Oh! Oh, that's bad. That's very bad. He's so tanky. He's taking no damage. Do they have a ranged attack? I can't remember. Okay. Release the Crystalline again. I just need to be a bit more vigilant and dodge better. Oh, he does have a ranged attack. Okay, yeah, hit him with the spin. Yes, yes, perfect, perfect. These crystal enemies are funny. Their defenses are through the roof until you break them, and then they become really weak. He's focused on me again. Ah, yeah, but my Crystalline has a ranged attack to redraw the aggro. This is a pretty good summon. Oh, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. This is going great. It's just me. Oh, it's down to half health. But the tankiness is saving it so far. Oh, okay. It's back on me now. Range attacks, draw it back in. Retake the aggro, perfect. Oh, this is getting closer than I'd like. Never mind! The Crystalline takes it. Alright, we're up against Margit the Fell Omen next. We're on our second spin. We're going to exclude 32 here, because we've already done that one. And we have 28. So 31, 30, 29, 28. We have the Fire Monk Ashes. I love this introduction.
Be Margit the Fell.
This cutscene's awesome. This boss is really cool. Alright, so let's just summon him straight off and see how he does. I'm quietly confident about this, because Margit doesn't have any like massive weaknesses, but fire is one of them. Wow, the Fire Monk's flame arts seem fantastic. Not taking that much damage, huge health pool by the looks of it. Quite aggressive. I need to remember I have to not die. I think we've got quite lucky so far with our first two. Oh, those fire attacks. Some good area of effect fire attacks as well. I'm pretty sure we could have got stuck here if we got unlucky with our Spirit Ash, but not the Fire Monk. The Fire Monk's an absolute boss. After defeating the Tree Sentinel and Margit, I was now able to infiltrate Stormveil Castle. Not an easy prospect, getting past the Lion Guardian when you can't attack. You might be able to hear it chasing me here, let alone the enemy marksman firing ballista rounds at me further on. Once we're past the small army, it's just a case of dodging the flying warhawks, but eventually I made it to Godric, the third boss in our path. And in Godric's name, we roll a 30. Oh man, I'm sorry I gotta do this to you, Godric. I'm so sorry. Oh my word, these guys are beasts! Holy crap. When you just don't want to deal with the boss, and you just summon your two massive bodyguards. Deal with them, boys. Yeah, you need all the help you can get, Godric. I don't think that dragon head's gonna do it for you, I'm afraid. These guys even have lightning-infused weapons. Oh my goodness, this is insane! I'm not surprised this is a really endgame Spirit Ash. So like, once you pick up these ashes normally, you don't really have a reason to use them. Oh my goodness, he's dead already. He's dead already. Well, thanks, boys. Yeah, appreciate it. I mean, that really wasn't a surprise. That was definitely one of the best Spirit Ashes in the game. Next up, it's Liurnia of the Lakes. I passed by the woman with the funny back, picking up the map fragments as I go. I steal the Academy Glintstone key from Glintstone Dragon Smarag, and use that to pass the gates into the Rhea Lucaria Academy. All I can say is thank goodness for invincibility frames when you open doors. Also, a basic knowledge of illusory walls can help. I was aiming to check off Renala as one of the shard bearers in this area, but before that is the Red Wolf of Radagon. And we've rolled the Mausoleum Soldiers for our ashes, which is quite an interesting spirit because it summons 5. Okay, avoid all the sorcerers. We're gonna run straight in. I'm actually happy I got these ashes rather than a Spirit Ash that does ranged attacks. Because I know if you attack this boss with ranged, it just starts spamming dashes, which I think would make it quite hard. Oh my word. Oh, I forgot this boss doesn't have that much health. Oh, this is going to be a slaughter. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Well, that was a pretty free fight there. Continuing on through the academy, we avoid the magical traps, flawlessly of course, and trick the carrier knights with some elevator shenanigans. Finally, we reach Renala, Queen of the Full Moon, and let me tell you, this boss fight almost broke me. I rolled a 14, which was the Warhawk Ashes, pretty good. This is quite an effective flying summon with blades attached to its talons and beak and an ability to breathe fire. But as you can see by my initial attempts, I never even managed to deal the slightest bit of damage to her, as she is a floating, shielded sorceress. In phase 1, to remove her shield, you need to kill 3 of the juvenile scholars who are constantly attacking you. The 3 you need to kill have a golden aura glowing around them, so the chances of my summon locking onto the right scholar 3 times in a row is basically 0. Not only that, but even if eventually by some miracle the hawk killed the 3 scholars, this would only make Renala crash to the ground and become vulnerable for a few seconds. And during those moments, my hawk would never be there. However, if pure patience and luck wasn't going to work, there was another strategy that might have a chance. I went to the Rose Church and picked up the Nomadic Warrior's Cookbook. This cookbook grants the ability to use cursed blood pots. My Warhawk was then able to farm the Rune Bears, which supplied the Beast Blood ingredient, and the other ingredients were pretty accessible. I grabbed the Heal and Rejection Miracles, and a Finger Seal as well. I then finished up my trip by collecting as many ritual pots as I could hold. You can hold up to 10, but I was only able to get 5. So for each attempt, I will have 5 chances. And by chances, I mean a way to force my Warhawk spirit to target the correct enemy. The enemy that I want it to attack. A massive discovery for me was the fact that the rejection miracle, a miracle which does no damage, but deals a shockwave, actually works on the scholars. This meant in theory I could take care of the golden scholars, and then use my cursed blood pot on Renala to focus my Warhawk's attention. Slowly I was refining my strategy and my plan started to bear fruit. I threw my curse pots at Renala when she was vulnerable, being sure to miss her body each throw because a direct hit would deal a single point of damage. Luckily the pots have a little area of effect. Avoiding the falling chandeliers, the flying books and globes, the fire breath soon became second nature. After a lot of pain and frustration, I finally managed to guide the Warhawk through phase 1. At this point, I had no more curse pots and I was low on flasks. Renala attacks directly in this phase with a variety of sorceries and ends up dealing a significant amount of damage early on. The Warhawk isn't the most healthy spirit compared to others. The problem arises when Renala is brought under 60% of her health. She begins to summon ghost wolves, knights, dragons and trolls, which once again distract my hawk and cause further damage. Even so, with all these challenges, my bird valiantly fought its best, but sadly was overcome at the last second. What's important is I now know this is possible. Next attempt I completed phase 1 with minimal problems. In phase 2 I made sure to use my miracles more effectively, and I got much luckier with the RNG this time in terms of where my Spirit Ash was focusing its attacks. I ended up defeating her, even having 2 cursed blood pots to spare. It's really satisfying how different a boss fight can be from its first attempt to its last. The improvement and refinement is one of the best parts of these games. I used all my runes to get Vigor upgraded and headed onwards to the Altus Plateau. To get there I went into the ruin-strewn precipice. At the top of these caves is the magma worm Makar, a lesser dragon who lives in a really cool environment. Might be a weird thing to say, but I like caves and this one is nice. I rolled a 33 this time, which ended up being the Kindred of Rot Ashes. Not the worst, but not the best. I mean, it's definitely very creepy and distinctive. The appearance is something to get excited about, but the health is low and the way it scuttles and crawls around ended up being a problem here. And you're seeing that playing out right now. This magma worm spews out magma, I guess, or is it lava? Anyway, the magma is everywhere, and the Kindred of Rot is not the brightest. The first few attempts did go quite well, but it felt like no matter what I did, I couldn't stop my Spirit Ash from being roasted alive. So I quickly detoured and made my way to the Frenzied Flame Village to pick up Shabriri's Woe. This talisman is supposed to constantly attract enemies' aggression. I wanted the magma worm to focus on me and leave my Kindred of Rot to do its thing, but ultimately I'm not sure if this helped much at all. Enemies tend to attack whatever is damaging it, and obviously that was never me. The run where it happened, everything just fell into place a little better. Firstly, the magma worm seemed to pump out slightly less magma than usual. Not only that, but occasionally if it got a bit of free space, it would suddenly pull out some huge combos of sticky thread projectiles and melee strikes. By the end it was going on a complete rampage. It's weird, sometimes it wasn't attacking, and then other times it went crazy. It made me realise just how RNG this challenge is. With the magma worm down, we have a way forward open to us. But before entering the Highlands, I looped back to Rea Lucaria Academy to pick up the Radagon icon, which shortens my spellcasting time. I thought it might give me a little edge. And then it was time to visit the Altus Plateau. Once in these new lands, I could pick up Golden Vow. By doing this, I did get invaded by Anastasia, but luckily there's a convenient ladder nearby to solve that problem. The next boss in our way, stopping us from entering the royal capital of Lendel, is the Draconic Tree Sentinel, a massive knight in golden armor with a big horse who wields the magic of dragons. Now, a bunch of common cheese strategies for this fight involve using Scarlet Rot, or poison, to slowly whittle down the knight's huge health bar. But unfortunately for me, I didn't get any Spirit Ash with those abilities. Instead I rolled a 7, a strapping duo of cartwheeling spirits who wield ripple swords. Both are 2nd generation Albinurics, with dumpy heads that resemble those of frogs. As soon as I saw the damage numbers of my little friends, I started to lose hope. Their melee attacks were almost useless. In fact, their best attack, by far, was their Ice Breath. But that was used very rarely, and the Tree Sentinel is just way too quick and nimble. Half the time, these guys are rolling around like circus performers and getting stuck on walls, and every hit they take, they get completely staggered and just thrown around. A surprising discovery on my end was how effective rejection was. I assumed a huge, fully armoured horse knight wouldn't be easily interrupted, but rejection staggers him every time. The only problem was, it stopped him for maybe half a second, and the Albinurics are just too slow to take advantage of this. I realised with maximum effort I could just barely make it to phase 2, which sounds good, but phase 2 is a nightmare. It's like a completely new fight. He gets new lightning strikes, bolts and shockwaves, as well as an imbued hammer. This monstrous knight with over 13,000 health points was not going down. Even when I tried to use Golden Vow to boost the attack power and defense of my nearby allies, it was nowhere near enough. The closest I ever came, which wasn't even really that close, was when the stars aligned and the Sentinel happened to move closer to a corner of the wall. The Albinurics happened to be there as well without getting stuck, and I could spam rejection without the horse being pushed out of range, since the wall was there. The problem is, you can't trap him forever, sometimes he just leaps out, and in the second phase almost all his attacks become incredibly powerful area of effect moves. Plus, I ran out of blue flasks and focus points. And even with all of that extremely lucky cheese, he still had over a quarter of his health left. These strange frogmen are great. They're cute, but they're not good enough in this instance. I felt that even if by some miracle I managed to defeat this boss, then the next boss, Godfrey, might be possible, but Morgott would surely be the true end, regardless of what spirit I landed on. Unless I got the Mimic tier, maybe. Either way, I feel like I got a pretty good idea of the limits of this challenge. I felt like I had accomplished what I set out to do, and that was experiment a bit more with the Spirit Ash system. It was a bit of a different spin on the challenge genre, you could say. More of a fun experiment playing around with these ghostly creatures for some entertainment. I hope you all enjoyed. Maybe leave a comment if you've seen something that I've missed in terms of progressing this run. Remember to check out the Spirit Ash designs on Orochi if you're interested, and thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.